In the year 1328, France faced a crisis. King Charles IV, last of the Capetian line, died without a male heir. According to blood, the throne could have passed to Edward III of England, grandson of Philip IV, through his mother. But the French lords would not bend to an English king. Instead, they crowned Philip VI of Valois. To Edward, it was a theft. To England, it was an insult. In 1337, he declared himself rightful king of France. 2 crowns, 1 throne. And the 100 Years' War began. The opening campaigns were raids of fire. English ships burned French coasts, while French knights struck back across the Channel. But in time, the war became more than feudal rivalry. It was the struggle for national destiny, England's ambition to rule France, and France's fight for survival. The first thunder of this war came at Crécy, 1346. Edward III and his son, the Black Prince, faced a massive French army. The Knights of France, proud and armored, charged again and again. But they were met not by lances, but by longbows. Arrows rained like iron storms. Horses screamed, knights fell in heaps, their armor pierced by day's end. French chivalry lay broken in the mud. At Calais, 1347, the English starved the city into surrender. 6 burghers, barefoot and in chains, offered their lives for the salvation of their people. Edward spared them at his queen's request, but Calais remained in English hands for 2 centuries. Yet, victory was shadowed by death. In 1347, the Black Death swept Europe plague, spared no king, no peasant, no soldier. War paused, but it did not end. In 1356, at Poitiers, the Black Prince triumphed again, capturing the French king, John II. For a moment, France was broken, ransom demanded for its own monarch. But France did not die. Half a century later, the war burned anew. In 1415, Henry V of England led an army deep into France. At Agincourt, he faced overwhelming odds, hungry, outnumbered, surrounded. French knights charged across muddy fields, their armor dragging them down. English longbowmen cut them to pieces. It was a slaughter. Thousands of French nobles lay dead against all odds. Henry V stood victorious. The triumph was sealed in 1420 with the Treaty of Troyes. Henry was declared heir to the French crown, disinheriting the Dauphin. Charles, England's dream, seemed within reach. A dual monarchy, uniting the 2 kingdoms under one king. But destiny intervened. Henry V died young, leaving only an infant son. France was wounded, but not slain. Into despair came a voice of hope, a peasant girl from Domremy named Joan of Arc. She claimed visions from God, commanding her to save France. In 1429, she rode in armor at the siege of Orléans. Her courage ignited the soldiers. Her faith inspired the nation. The French stormed the English lines and won. Joan led Charles VII to Reims, where he was crowned king, but triumph turned to tragedy. Captured in 1430, Joan was sold to the English. Accused of heresy, she was condemned to the flames. On May 30th, 1431, she was burned alive in Rouen. Her last word was the name of Jesus. Though she died, her spirit lived. France, once broken, rose again by mid-century. War turned in France's favor. New tactics, new weapons, and above all, cannon fire shattered the dominance of knights and castles. In 1453, at the Battle of Castillon, French artillery crushed the English. The longbow had ruled for a century, but now gunpowder decided battles. The English clung to Calais, but their dreams of empire in France were gone. The 100 Years' War ended not with treaty, but with exhaustion. The 100 Years' War was no single war, but a century of struggle. Dynasties fought for crowns, but nations were born. France emerged scarred yet united, Forged by fire and inspired by the memory of Joan of Arc, England turned inward, its monarchy shaken, its nobility soon to bleed in the Wars of the Roses. The age of knights and feudal chivalry ended. The age of nations, cannons, and destiny began. For 100 years, Europe burned. For 100 years, blood was the coin of kings. But from the smoke of Crécy, Agincourt, and Orléans rose the world we know today.